Let's talk a bit more about the global market impact of all of this. Joining us today is Ruchir Sharma, Rockefeller International Chairman and Breakout Capital Founder. Ruchir, good to have you. Thanks for the time this morning. You heard our discussion about the challenges of foreign direct investment into Venezuela. Can you envision an environment in which that gets easier?
Well, it can. I think Sarah ran down all the points as to why Venezuela has become a basket case. I would add one more, which is the curse of commodities, which is that the research I've done here basically shows that most nations end up being poorer relative to the United States after they discover oil or other commodities. So there's a real curse of commodities also to add to Venezuela, that having too much oil is in fact not a good thing because it is what sows the seeds for economic mismanagement, much more corruption. The nations that truly succeed are those that function on manufacturing, technology, and stuff. So I'm not that optimistic on what Venezuela itself is going to do. But yeah, it's been such a basket case that from here, I guess there's only upside. And the Venezuelan bonds have begun to price that. In fact, they were sniffing this action that was happening. And so from here, I do see a better path for Venezuela. But in general, I'm not a big bull in the long term on investing in nations that are rich in commodities, because that's what sows the seeds for economic mismanagement and corruption, with everyone trying to sort of get a hand on those assets.
Right. We've already seen on the tape today some responses from the president of Colombia, comments from Mexican President Sheinbaum. Are you looking for areas in which Latin America would bristle at these new aggressive stances by the U.S.?
No, I mean, I think that in general, I think that something more constructive is happening in Latin America, which is that the place is turning right in the traditional way, in the economically right-wing way. And so Latin American markets had a very good 2025. And I think that as they turn even more right this year, with more elections scheduled, and the really big one's going to be Brazil, that's the one to watch. So I generally feel that while the long-term Latin America has a problem of too much commodities, I feel in general Latin America, including these Colombia and all which have elections, the fact that they are getting rid of the left-wing leaders who have been very anti-capital, and they are electing right-wing leaders who tend to be more pro-economic growth with better inflation, anti-inflation credentials, I think that bodes well for Latin America. But the really big election to watch this year, and part of my top trends for 2026, is going to be Brazil. Because if Brazil turns right, the whole of Latin America just, looks a lot better then.
I mean, this is the Milei effect. This is Argentina with Javier Milei. And it was a slam dunk investment for a while, Ruchir, but then, there have been bumps.
Yeah, but I think Argentina still looks very good. I think that he has come through fire. He's gone through a lot of testing times last year. But Argentina looks good from here because what he's doing, we may agree or disagree with his methods, but what he's doing economically is very much the right path of deregulation and of cleaning up Argentina. Both Argentina and Venezuela used to be two of the richest countries in the world at some point in time. And they've both been terribly economically mismanaged. So you're right, Argentina started the trend, and I think that trend is still rolling on. And if Brazil turns right this October, I think that, that's going to be the most significant election in the world this year.
So Venezuela, can you even invest there? I mean, what
no,
sort of, yeah. What do you
not
need
as
to
portfolio
happen?
investors, not for most people watching your show here, because sure, you can buy some Venezuelan bonds which trade, so you could do that. But there's no way that you can, the equity market is non-existent. So I don't think, so therefore I think that this story is going to remain a geopolitical story, but I don't think it's going to remain, as an investor, it's not really a story that we can focus on. And even these oil companies, before they try and get there, it's going to take a long time before they can see any benefit out of their investments in Venezuela, if at all that happens.